Hello everyone and welcome to December. It's been a busy month, Thanksgiving and all. John's being allowed to come back to the country. Rumor has it TSA is escorting him back home soon. I haven't spoke to him. I think he's a little busy right now. Nonetheless, Sean's been around, but I've been busy. The truth is, my parents came out to visit me for Thanksgiving. I kind of knew that I was only going to get one video out in November. And to be fair, the same is going to hold true here in December too. But nonetheless, it was great to have my parents travel from the East Coast all the way out here to the West so I could share with my father this ambition that I have. Because of him, I got interested in model railroading. Speaking of model railroading, those of you who are in this hobby and haven't been on the blog site for model railroad hobbyists, you're missing out on a great opportunity. It's not often that you can have an electrical engineer or a programmer or anyone help you with your layout. But when you are on model railroad hobbyists, that's exactly what you get. Thanks to Dr. Jeffrey Bunza and Dave Bodner, I came up, or I should say they came up and gave me this opportunity to build this DCC decoder that's going to control some relays so I can turn power on and off in my staging yard using JMRI. So what a great opportunity you have. And if you're not doing and using Model Railroad Hobbyist blog site to learn and take an opportunity to find out, you're missing out on a lot. So anyway, this month I've got some redesigning that I'm doing on the yard, and I'm going to show you how I built and set up, well, not really built, but how I start to set up for my custom diamond that's got to go into the Denver yard. It's a curved diamond, and so I can't really find a fast track jig or, for that matter, any commercially available turnout or diamond that's going to meet my need. So come on in, I'll show you what I've done. We're going to go over some designing and redesigning ideas, and then I'll let you see what I'm doing. So come on in. Okay, here we are back at the drawing board. This is the Colorado Front Range Railroad in the Denver area as I originally designed it. And you know, when you're designing a project this large, you tend to send it to different people and comment on it and talk to them. And sometimes you miss things. And that's exactly what happened here. I missed something. For starters, if any of you are familiar with Craig Biscar's 10 Commandments to Model Railroad Yard Design, take a look at that if you haven't seen it. I'll put a link in the information down below. But this is really helpful to understanding and why I caught this right away as I begin to take a look at this. Usually when I'm building a layout and I've done the design like this, I want to go back and evaluate it. And I run trains in my mind. I sit down. The nice thing with any rail here, I can actually run trains using a train runner and using the program. It actually just turns this into an operating railroad that I can operate virtually. And I had run all the main line. What I hadn't done was run the industrial sites and things like that, doing switching. So I'm going to give you a situation. Originally when I designed this, my biggest concern was coming out of the Denver grain elevator or conical oil. I had these long string of cars and I needed to be able to gather them out, and so I needed to be able to drill them out of here and then move them around. So I have this nice long lead coming from the yard, which works really well, until you begin to come around here and realize that the only way to take the oil or the grain was to go through the Denver Union Station ladder, then into the middle of the rice yard, then shift it all the way out to here and have to shuffle around to get my train to bring it into here to drill it as I wanted to. The other thing is this drill track is located on the wrong end. It needs to be up here where it actually be useful so you could go in and pull the cars out of it. It's an easy fix to fix the drill track. This, on the other hand, pulling out of the industrial area, is quite a challenge because this track right here is the main line for passenger trains. They're going to come into here and then shuffle into Denver Union Station. So I had to come up with an idea. So I called a couple different people that I know and talked to them with different ideas. In the end, the design that we came up with is this one right here. This is the change. So you can see this has kind of been cleaned up a bit into here. One of the things I did was I moved obviously the double slip switch so the drill track would work well, but I put another one into here. This served two purposes. One, it got my cars coming out of the Denver grain elevator and Conoco coming out of here straight into Rice Yard. But it creates a diamond going across there. We'll come back to that diamond in just a minute. The other thing that it does is that it allows the main lines to stay absolutely open. You can drill, you can drive in and out of the Denver Union Station, and there's nothing that's going to hinder any traffic coming in and out from north or south. So that's a real plus as I'm looking at this. Now, the downsides. Well, two. We have a custom built crossing here. I tried every fast track jig and every fast track template that I had to fit into there, and it became apparent that I was going to end up with a curved crossing no matter how I did this to make this flow nice and easy and to look natural and exactly the way the railroad would have built it. So that means I end up having to custom build a diamond, a curved crossing. Not the easiest thing to do, but I've built double slip switch. This shouldn't be that big of a deal. The other thing that this does, and as I was talking to Paul Schmidt, and some of you may know Paul, he used to be an editor at Model Railroading Radio, he used to be an editor at Model Railroader, and now works for the Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad. I sat down with Paul just to kind of talk with him and present this drawing to him, and Paul immediately was very excited about it, and he pointed out a couple other things that I hadn't taken into consideration. By putting this crossing into here, there's no approach lights coming out of Denver Union Station, and there's not going to be any approach lights coming in through the industrial side down here on the south side. So this becomes a restricted speed area. That means that trains will not be able to operate faster than 20 miles an hour for there because they will have to stop right away. Paul also pointed out to me, oh, by the way, the advantage of doing that is now this area becomes much larger because the trains have to go slower through the area. So things will slow down as they move through here because they have to stop for the signal for this crossing here. The other thing Paul pointed out to me as I was talking to him and discussing CTC and blocking and everything else, he pointed out to me that CTC would never control that diamond. It would be a local control. So what I'll end up doing is putting in basically a key here about this location right here. You'll have to call the dispatcher, get permission to cross the main. You'll then turn the key. That'll switch these dwarfs between this area right here to red and allow you to cross over here on a green light. You'll then come into here, turn the switch again to allow the main to have the free reign going in and out of Denver, and now you can operate this industrial area without any hindrance whatsoever. So that's kind of what the redesign has come out, and that's what we're going to build. But this pesky little custom crossing has got to be built, and the only way to do it is to actually build it in place, or at least get drawings and a template of what I have to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I set up this crossing, this custom crossing, and how I'm going to build this and make the template for it. So at this point, we're going to switch off this and head out to the train, and we'll meet you there at the trains. Talk to you later. Okay, so I've showed you what the redesign was, and so here we are on the table. I want to actually show you what we got done. This is two double slip switches right here, back to back. These I built with fast tracks. They're in place and all ready to go. This would be the drill track coming out of Rice Yard. This is the main line for the freight. This is the industrial siding heading over to the south end of Denver. This lead right here is the Union Station lead for all the passenger tracks, and these two here head off to the engine facility. So as you can see down here, here's Union Yard all right there, and there's Union Station. This will be Rice Yard coming into here and fitting into here. So in order to build this diamond, I've got to take track from this main line here and this industrial siding, and I have to form the curves that I need. Now I'll do this with fast track swish sticks and all the sticks, because I have them in just about every size I possibly need to go through here. And I will form the diamond and then trace the diamond onto a piece of paper. It's not actually built yet, but it gives me the angles and everything I need so I can draw it out and build the template that I will need to build the to build the diamond. So that's what I'm going to show you here in a minute, but I want to give you just an overview of what we've got here. So again, 2 double slip switches. These will be number 6 feeding down into Rice Yard. This is a pair of number 6 switches that are laying on top of it. It's not a true 3-way, it's actually a pair laying on top of one another. And then you got a number 8 right here. So these will all feed into here. I'll solder a pair of flex tracks together. I'll lay them out and then set them out and pin them into place. Now what you can't see, before I painted all this, I actually laid out the notes already and figured everything out before I painted it. Now that it's painted, to seal this roadbed here, I can still see the lines. You probably can't see them on the camera, but they are here in place and they will help guide me in where I need to go, so I keep my angles and everything exactly the way I want to. The key here will be to make it flow smoothly together. Here we are, 2 double slip switches in the 3-way. This is the main line going into Rice Yard. This radius right here is about a 32-inch radius. Now it's not going to affect us other than I want to be sure that I maintain my mainline radiuses, which the tightest is 30-inch. The rest of it is much broader. And then this is the drill track coming off of the yard, and it's just going to flow right into here. Now you can see some of the lines that I've drawn here. Now these tracks here, this one here, I've already started back into here to make sure I hit my mark back here, so it'd go a little quicker on the video. But this is the main line coming off of into Union Yard. So what we're going to do is we're going to line it up here, and we're going to pin it so it doesn't go anywhere. Just like so. All right. And then I'm just going to check and make sure that I hit my marks here. This is coming in at about 36-inch radius. It's actually about 40 coming into here and then tightens up as we come around through here. So we're going to just pin these. And I'm going to use thumbtacks because my industrial lead is going to come across here, and I'm going to have to draw these rail heads to make my template. And again, I'm not so concerned much about the radius as I am that the track seems to flow and nice and smooth. So as the passenger trains come out of here, those big 85-foot cars come out of here real nice. All right, now this industrial lead is going to come into here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to overlap it over the double slip switch, and I'm lining the rail heads with the rail heads. And I'm going to pin those literally right on next to one another, on top of one another, so I can hold that in place so I can get a nice smooth transition coming out of that double slip switch. All right. Now, I have some marks coming back through here, so I want to get these to hit those marks. I'll need some thumbtacks to pin them in place. Again, I'm looking for smooth. I'm not so concerned about what my radius is. It's certainly bigger than the minimum for the yard is 24 inch, and we'll be well above that when we get done here. I guess I can't get a thumbtack in there, so I'm going to use some T-bar pins to hold that in place. Just like so. Just want to get those right where they belong. We're off just a bit here, so I'm going to make some adjustments. There we go. Now this is really important for making that template, or else that diamond won't line up right. There we go. That's much better. Okay. All right, so this is the diamond that I want to build right here. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab a piece of paper and I'm going to cover over top of this diamond. Now, this is the start of my template. So what I need is I need to pin this down so that this won't move when I go to take the tracks out. So I'm going to trace the rail heads. That's going to give me the angles. So we're going to trace this rail head first, then I'll take this track out, and then I'll trace this bottom rail head, and that'll give me my diamond just as I need to build it. Now I'm going to trace much longer, but that'll work. All right, so I've got a simple ordinary crayon. This happens to be one of those nice jumbo crayons. And I'm just going to simply take my track, whoop, 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 whoop. Okay, I'm just going to simply put this down and tighten it up. I don't want it to move when I'm drawing, so I'm going to put a couple tacks up here. All right, here we go. This is a crayon. All right. I don't know if you can see that, but that's dark enough here that I can work with that. And I'm going to take this off and flip this back over. Take all these pins and this track out of here. There we go. And then I'm going to repin this right down in the same spot. take my crane again. And there's my diamond, right there. So that's what I've got right here. I've got a diamond. That's the start of my template. I'll simply then draw out where the ties go, the PC ties and all that. I'll cut them out, and then I'll use these angles, and they'll be close enough that I can actually build this crossing. So that's how you build a template for a custom crossing, and I hope that's helpful. Hopefully next month when you come back, that'll be built, and we'll go on from there. So until then, you have yourself a Merry Christmas and Happy Modeling.